Guys, so for this video, I'll be talking about kind of like the rookies of 2017 in K-pop. I just got this random idea today in the middle of the day, and I said, you know, why not make a video? I actually did not get to buy any of the albums by these groups, but if you watched a few of my videos, especially the last ones, I really am not really planning on getting any of these albums, like any other albums they put out, because it's all to save money, and I just wasn't necessarily too impressed. But I will talk about each group individually, and these are just a few. There was a bunch of debuts, so I'm not going to talk about every single group. It's actually a very short list because a lot of these other groups just completely disband, so I think from this list, these will be lasting. Will last for at least 5 years, in my opinion, because they are from just bigger companies, so they're more likely to survive the just the the immense amount of just groups competing with each other. Alright, so I actually just have these two albums because these are like kind of like the new generation groups which are 17 and G-Friend, which are the kind of like the few that I really enjoyed aside from Monster X, Blackpink, Twice to a certain extent, and I don't know what other group yeah, there really isn't that many groups that have caught my eye, so I'm really not going to buy. I mean, I have to really love certain albums, so maybe, but it's not really likely for me to buy it. But I'll just get to talking about each group. So the first group that I put on my list, because I have my computer right here next to me, is Wikimiki, or some people call them Wekimeki, but it's Wikimiki. I think that's what it's pronounced. And they consist of two prior members, or like members from IOI, Yoojung and Doyeon. And they're a Fantagio group, so they're kind of like a sister group for Astro, and Fantagio is mostly actors, so I think it's pretty interesting that they really finally managed to create successful groups to a certain extent, because Wikimiki have just recently debuted, but I think they had the top selling debut album of this year, but they didn't necessarily get a hit with their debut song. And Astro does well physically, while Hello Venus really seems to struggle these days, so I don't know what's gonna go down with them once their contracts expire, because yeah, that's just a whole nother story, because Hello Venus had a really good discography. I really like them, but they really just disappear, and I whenever they come back, I don't even pay attention anymore. But they had a decent mini album. I almost did buy it, but again, just to save money, and obviously I try to give it a listen. Their debut song really stands out in my opinion. It's kind of like 4 songs jammed together. It reminded me a little bit of I Got a Boy, because that is kind of like I would say like the blueprint for just weird K-pop songs. And then after that, a lot of other groups started doing it. And a few other groups that have kind of done it in the past before Girl Generation, I would say it would be kind of like FX, because they usually have more of that eclectic sound. But I don't like Your Girlfriend. It's a grower. If you don't like it as like instantly, I think the chorus is what really grabs you, or that's what grabbed me to really like the song. I love the bridge for it. Honestly, none of the other girls really stand out, other than obviously Yoojung, who is just born to be a star. I think she has a lot of charisma, and Doyeon, she's good, but the girl who sings the bridge, I really like her voice. I don't know her name. I don't know if I'll ever learn their names, but I think they do have a future as a group. I think they need to showcase the other girls a little bit more. Obviously, they wanted to give most of the shine towards Yujang, since she does have like the biggest following out of the other girls, plus Doyan. So I understand why she had them kind of, it seemed more like just her and her crew. But yeah, overall I thought it was okay. It wasn't something that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like out of this world, you know, because sometimes you do get those type of debuts, like especially back then. I think just this new generation is a little bit weird. So I'm really hoping that they do get a few more comebacks next year. Hopefully they do the same thing with Astro. I know it's like really, it's a lot of workload for them, but that's kind of like the only way to really survive. You just constantly have to be promoting a group to really gain a fan base if they're not from like a huge label. So a group like Blackpink, it's more likely to survive with few releases than this group than Wiki Miki, since a lot of the times just a lot of the fans leave, which is really sad. So and then I also really like another song in their debut album, which was Stay With Me. That would have been a better title track, but I really understand why they picked that I Don't Like Your Girlfriend song. It just stands out. Like whenever I looked back at any of these other groups, that's like one of the debut songs that really stood out for me. So I hope that they do improve over time, and that the other girls showcase what they're like all about, because Fantagio does a really good job at training idols. So I'm sure they're all really talented, and yeah, so they'll probably replace Hello Venus, so I'll keep an eye out for them. Then we got Preston, they're like the new girl group from Fantagio, Pledis. And two girls from IOI as well are in this group, which are Pinky and Nayeon. I think this group is well put together. Once again, Pledis does a really good job at putting groups together. I have like a bittersweet feeling for their music. I get that they do want to make them kind of like 17, because even though they haven't really advertised that they write and produce their music, or at least for the most part, they don't really advertise it as much as they've done for 17. But they actually do participate a lot in the song and like their album production, and probably in their concepts. But I don't think they're necessarily very good at it. I think that 17 just really clicked it, or just had it since their first mini album, but I don't know, they probably need better producers helping them out for the other songs, because I don't particularly really like their albums. I really like the girls. Like I actually was gonna buy their stuff, but I don't know, I was kind of a bit disappointed. So it just I don't know, it just put my interest took my interest away. But I would say that they have a lot of potential, because prior to their 2 mini albums that they had this year, they made covers and they're really, really good. So that's what piqued my interest, aside from having 2 girls from IOI. Their cover of Bang is phenomenal. I really enjoyed that cover. So hopefully they do get something more that route. But I would say that their songs are weird as well. It's I don't know if that was like the trend for the IOI girls, but like Wii is not a bad song, but it's not a great song. It's just an average song. I think the Wii part is probably the best bit for it, but honestly I can't even remember that song that well. And then I think there was a song called Black Widow in that mini album, and that was alright, but other than that, nothing stood out for me. But again, I like the girls, but I don't know if I'll be buying their stuff either. But I hope that they get a better team to help them write the albums, like for the songs for the albums, because nothing really stood out. And their song, is it called We? Let me look it up. We Like. The song We Like. I think that song could have been a really good song if it wasn't for some bits for it. So here's like, that's like my guilty pleasures, one of my guilty pleasure songs for this year, because at first I was like, this is so weird, like it just doesn't click with me. But the do 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 part, I love that part. And there's bits throughout the song that are really good, but other parts really don't do it for me. The chorus is really good. The bridge as well. There's really good parts in that song, but I just don't love it for some reason. There's some parts I just don't get. I think it's one of the few rap parts that probably really threw me off. And at the end of the music video, there's this beat after the song ends. That I hope, oh my gosh, I hope that Pledis uses that beat on a song, and hopefully they were teasing about it. I don't know, but it sounded really good. I was like, if this was the actual beat for the song, I would probably love it, because it was like really unique. But I do like Preston, and I think that they have that K-pop sound that is keeping me interested in them, and they're not following other trends. So that's one thing that I really like about them. And obviously they have a bunch of potential, and yeah, they're probably, if they're promoted well enough, they'll become a big group. But I think a lot of people are losing interest in the IOI girls once they've separated. Then for a boy group, Golden Child, which was a group that I was most likely going to buy out of all of these, since they are Infinite's brother group, but I don't think I'll be buying their stuff. They had an okay debut. I feel like their debut was, I don't know, I felt like it took a very long time. I know obviously they debuted this year, but the way that they teased about it was so weird. I thought it was like they were teasing about it like a couple months before their debut, like actual photos and things like that. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and also waiting for an Infinite announcement. The album, I listened bits of it, wasn't anything like that I really particularly enjoyed a lot. But again, I like this. What I like about this group is that they're keeping that K-pop sound, which I was complaining on on a couple of videos, that a lot of K-pop groups are just following trends, which is completely okay. But a lot of songs are sounding the same, because they're following American trends. And Golden Child's album was not like that, so I really enjoyed that. I don't know if I'll end up buying any other stuff either, but I hope that Willem gives some good songs. But the debut song did not stand out for me either. So then I have On and Off, which is out of these groups, I think is the one that probably nobody really knows. They had a good debut song. I think even the mini album was pretty good, but again, they didn't impress me like I've been impressed before with other debuts. Obviously, usually groups improve over time, so I will be keeping an eye out for them. These are like the only groups that I will keep an eye out for next year. So I can't really say much because I don't even remember their debut album that much, but I do remember that their debut song was pretty good. Then 101, which obviously are going to disband, so this is kind of one that doesn't necessarily count in this. They had an amazing mini album. Honestly, if this was an actual group, but I wouldn't want them to be an actual group because I want Minhyun to be in New East. But aside from if he wasn't in UEs, I would have loved this to be an actual group. I think that they're, I don't know, for like just like IOI, the way they were put together is just, I don't know, it's oddly perfect. I was complaining about, what's his name, Guilin. Well, I was complaining about him being in the group. I actually like him being in the group now, and the songs are really good. Nothing about the stuff they put out is bad in my opinion. I don't think I'll get the repackage because the song Beautiful was okay, but they're just the first thing that they released, all the songs were amazing. Energetic, and what was the other song? Burning. Well, they were really good. So unfortunately they're gonna disband by the end of next year. So we're not gonna get more stuff from them, but they were my favorite one out of all these, to be honest. Then Dreamcatcher, which are kind of like a sweet little surprise this year. They kind of like they're a re-debut group, because they were a happy face group. What were they called? Well, I forgot what they were called. But some of the girls in that group got to debut once again with Dreamcatcher, and I think some of the girls in Dreamcatcher are participating in like a reality show. I don't know if it's Mix 9. I'm not watching Mix 9 or The Unit, neither. But I love their sound. I haven't gotten any of their stuff, but I would say if they continue making really good music, I'll be willing to buy the first 2 mini albums and whatever they put out, because I like when groups stand out on their own entirely, because musically no other girl group or boy group was releasing music like Dreamcatcher, and I love that they took a risk, because first of all, their concepts are not the typical concepts that girl groups are doing right now, which are either extremely cutesy or impure or very sexy. But I think the sexy trend really went away. Everything seems the same now. But there's very few groups that do cutesy originally. Like for example, I think Twice does cutesy, but in a fun way. Like it's funny at the same time. But there's some groups that just are really cringy, and I'm not here for that. But I love their sound. They would do so well in Japan. They have that really J-pop sounding, or in J-pop mixed with J-rock into their music, and I think that they're going to keep up with that because they got a good response from international fans. And if you have a decent international following, you can survive for a little bit. And then lastly, I just had a solo artist, which is Chunha. And Chunha is the girl that really survived the curse of the IOI girls, because even though Wiki Miki and Person got some good amount of physical sales, but they're big groups, Chunha is like the ultimate winner of that show, of the season 1, because Why Don't You Know did not hit #1. But it stayed in the charts for a really long time, and it sold really well, which is the reason why she's getting this other opportunity this January. So hopefully she does have at least, well, this new mini album plus another one near the end of the year, so she can really solidify a solo career. I think she can manage to do the thing, just be a solo artist. She doesn't need to be in a group. I hope that they don't randomly put her in a group, because as a solo, she's fantastic. I think she's a great singer, a great dancer. She has charisma on stage. She has a unique look to her, and I don't know, I really like her. Like, she has a cool aura about her, and Why Don't You Know was a fantastic song. I think even though it followed the trend, which is kind of a bit hypocritical of me to say, oh, it's like I like the groups that didn't sound like everybody else, but the song did stand out for me, and it was just really good. The music video was very pretty, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what she puts out basically next month. I hope that it's not something poorly produced. They have to really be careful with her, because if they don't give her a good song, she's going to struggle, because that's what's really saving a lot of these solo artists are really catchy or really good singles. That's what's saving a lot of just solo artists, and they can actually beat out big groups like BTS and EXO if it's a good song. So there's still chances for solo artists, but it's so slim, and I really like the fact that she got to debut as a solo. But yeah, this is kind of like my little review of rookie groups with both girl groups and boy groups. Not really much to talk about. We didn't get a debut from any of the big three, so I would have probably put them in here. But NCT has really been disappointing for me personally last year, so yeah, that's a whole nother story. But we'll probably get to see SM debut, another group, and JYP is doing a reality show, so we'll probably get that boy group from JYP. But yeah, if you guys have any other favorites, comment down below. These are like the few that I remember, because I know there's a bunch of other groups. There were some good like singles, but I just didn't pay attention to them. But yeah, who knows, about maybe one or two I might get their albums in the future, which I'm gearing towards more Dreamcatcher and Pristine, and obviously Chunha if she continues to have a successful solo career. But yeah, that's it for this video. I know it's quite long, but I really wanted to talk about at least some rookies. I know I was so petty and just negative about this year, but these are like the few ones that really interest me, which really has decreased over the years. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, look forward to more random videos like this, because I didn't buy any of the albums, so I couldn't show anything, but I at least wanted to talk about it. Alright, bye.